What up all, how are you doing today? It is me, Just Rob Tech, and we are back with another video. Today we're going to be benchmarking a game that I've been excited to play for a very long time since it's been announced. We are going to be taking a look at Armoured Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon. We're going to be benchmarking this game at 1080p, 1440p, and of course 4K. Now our system, as reported in the last kind of video I did with this, is a Ryzen 7 5800X, which is an AM4 CPU combined with 64 gigabytes of DDR4 memory running at 3600 megahertz, and our GPU is a Radeon RX 6800 16 gigabyte GPU. Running on an SSD, an M.2 SSD from Sabrent, which is one of their Rocket M.2s. This game has no DLS or FSR that I'm aware of, so this is all going to be purely sort of rasterized performance. I'm expecting to hit the frame limit of 120 frames at 1080p and 1440p. 4K probably won't hit that at high settings, but we'll see what we get on. We'll see what performance we can get. I'm going to try not to show too much of the gameplay because I know a lot of people probably want to play this and experience this for the first time, but I'll probably do some of the early missions, like gameplay-wise, so that you can see what sort of performance you're going to get if you had a similar sort of PC to what I have. But with that said, let's get on with it. Let's do the benchmarking. This is Armoured Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. So folks, starting off with 1080p, we can see we're getting no trouble at all to hit the 120 FPS limit at 1080p maximum detail. The CPU and obviously the GPU is probably a little bit bottlenecked by the CPU. We're not using 100% GPU utilization. That'll probably change when we hit 1440p and 4K. But to be honest, with a 5800X and a RX 6800 at 1080p, this is having no trouble hitting over 100 FPS really. It does dip down a few times to 115 FPS, but other than that, I'll say that's no trouble at all really. That will probably change once we hit 1440p and onwards, and I'm expecting 4K to a maximum detail to be quite a struggle. Obviously, to take into consideration, we do lose some performance because obviously we've got OBS running in the background capturing the footage, but probably not that much. So I think most of these performances I probably would say is average. Obviously with a faster CPU we would probably hit higher FPS at 4K, but to be honest, maximum detail I've got no issue with it hovering about 60 FPS and probably dipping down to about 50 I'd say, but obviously reducing that to high is where you would probably have it anyway. And obviously if you had a stronger GPU, like especially one of the Radeon 7900s or obviously RTX 40 series, probably the 4080, 4090, then you're probably going to hit 4K 120 FPS, no problem at all at maximum detail. But I think the game looks really good even if you did lower the settings. I mean, I play this primarily on high with, I think I turn motion blur down to like medium. I do that with every game. I do not like too much motion blur on my games. So, but I do find that reducing the motion blur helps with FPS. But yeah, and as you can see, once we push it up to 1440p, then we do get a bit more GPU bound. We start hitting close to 100% utilization. And pushing up to still some high frame rates, so hovering about that sort of 80, 70, 80, 90, sometimes hitting 100 FPS. And this is at maximum detail, by the way, so still very high frame rates for this game. Now, as you can see by the 1440p benchmarks, we are still not 100% GPU bound. We are still using we're not still using 100% of the GPU. Frame rate is still very high for maximum settings at 1440p. We're still sort of in that. It did dip a few times to the high 70s, but to be honest, that's very playable frame rate. And there was a few times where we did hit over 100 frames per second. This is one of the very early missions in the game, so there's not really like lots going on compared to some of the later stages of the game. But to be honest, I didn't want to show too much of the game in case most people wanted to obviously play it themselves, and obviously I didn't want to spoil anything, so I thought I'd just do one of the little missions. And the good thing about it, you can replay the missions as many as you want, which is a good little tip to increase your money. So 1440p at a 5800X RX 6800, very high playable frame rate. But you're here for the 4K performance. Now here we go. This is 4K maximum settings, and as you can see, we are now starting to be a lot more GPU bound, and the frame rate is kind of bouncing in between sort of late 50s over 60 FPS in some scenes. But this is like a resolution, obviously this very demanding resolution, 4K, as we know. I like to play this resolution at a high setting on this particular game and GPU, and with the high settings, turning off motion blur and I think shadows. Motion blur and shadows are usually set to about low or medium, and I do find that I can play this game at most of the high settings, as well as obviously turning down motion blur and shadows. I can then hit over 70, 80 FPS, but as you can see, with everything turned up to maximum, we are getting around like an average of, I'd say, 50, 60 FPS, which is completely fine. This game looks absolutely brilliant at 4K, but this is how the game runs, completely maxed out. I'll see my gameplay is still absolutely hilarious. So I've only just sort of built this rig, and it's taken a while to get used to not having the little laser gun, the laser sword that I had, but I'm using twin bazookas at each arm. Yeah, we're rocking and rolling. I've gone for like a pure damage. But this is a game running at 4K, and yeah, I think it looks really good and it plays really well. But I definitely would say that I think, obviously a Radeon 79 series or RTX 4080, 4090 will probably play this at 4K absolutely no trouble at maximum settings. But I think the 6800 is pushing really well, and obviously the 5800X is, I've got it quite overclocked using Precision Boost Overdrive, and we're still probably like losing frames due to that. But obviously I think a modern CPU would probably push this game a bit more higher, probably get some more frames, but then we could be purely GPU bound at 4K. But there you have it, folks. That is the Armoured Core 6 Fires of Rubicon benchmarks for the PC. This is available on Steam and PS5 and Xbox Series X. Very enjoyable game from what I've played so far. I think I've pumped about 6 or 7 hours into this game today. But I thought I'd do this, the benchmarks, just to show how it's run. I've been very impressed of how it's run, considering the fact there's no DLS or FSR on this game. I think they've really done a really good job with the PC port. I've not really noticed any stuttering or slowdowns going on, even using it at 4K. Obviously 1080p and 1440p running very well on the system. I've been looking forward to this game for it. I've been playing it on the my new Xbox controller for the PC. It's the red one. I think it looks really cool. I like it. Got kind of like a YouTube sort of theme going on with it. And obviously, I think we've got another week or two, and then we get to play Starfield. And obviously, I'll be playing Starfield with the Starfield controller. I don't think I've done a review for this controller. So what I'll do is just get it out of the box. That is the Starfield controller, looking very good, isn't it? I mean, absolutely gorgeous looking controller. But yeah, I like this. I can't wait to use it when I play Starfield in a week or two. Hopefully I can get Armoured Core 6 completed, the story, by then. Actually complete a game for once. But thank you very much for watching, folks. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and if you like this video, drop a like. Let me know your thoughts and feedbacks. Let me know if any other games you want to see tested on this channel. But until then, folks, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like, and bye. Oh, what the heck? We still going? Nice bit of music. Ba ba da ba ba ba. Ba 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 da ba ba ba. Ba ba da ba ba ba. Please like my video. Drop that subscribe. I am insane.